We're live. Hey, welcome back to Girlfriends of a Certain Age. I'm Fleshay.
I'm Jessica.
And today we're going to do our deep dive, as always, from our Gen X perspective. Today we're talking about what is it to call ourselves a writer? What are we doing here on Substack? What is this? So we thought we would get into it today. Jessica, do you have a little hot take for us to get us started?
Yeah, honestly, I think if you write, I think that qualifies you as a writer. And I think that a lot of us can get caught up in the titles and the credentials. And I got the best advice once, which was if you feel uncomfortable calling yourself a writer, just say you are someone who writes.
It's true. You know what I think? I think it taps into the inner perfectionist, or this idea that honestly, it's a self-esteem issue that we'll never quite be good enough to be a Mel Robbins or Anne Lamott.
Virginia Woolf.
Yeah, there's
Mhm.
so many amazing authors, or people I would call authors, right? And then I identify as a writer. And I have to say, I've wanted to be a writer, or I started calling myself that in the fourth grade. So to be able to be published myself, to now be self-publishing here on Substack, to be able to have a podcast with you, supporting other women in midlife, I get to just do it. And I really believe that writers write, artists make art,
Yep,
chefs cook.
yep,
I think whatever you want to do, you do it. And
yep,
we have to get away from this idea that there's only one way to do it. Um,
totally.
yeah.
And I think there's such an idea of, is it good? Is it bad? Is it valid? And I struggle with that to this day because, there's the idea that, excuse me, someone could have trained for years to become a writer and they've really honed their craft. And I completely respect that. But when I think about what I've done, I was a journaler from the youngest age. I absolutely love journaling. I was taking a trip down memory lane thinking about this, and I remember journaling. I remember writing poems and song lyrics as a little girl. I'll never forget. It was also, I want to say, fourth or fifth grade, where we got to create a book with like a hard cover, and mine was about a unicorn. And I was so proud. The idea of like having a hardcover book that was mine, it made me so freaking proud. So there's many different definitions and ways to be a writer. You don't have to be on the New York Times bestseller list. You don't have to be a Pulitzer Prize winner. You don't have to go to 5 million workshops. Those writers are amazing, and they can be people that we study and, admire and read. But I think it is really time to open up the definition and give ourselves full permission to write and to write however we want to.
Especially now in midlife. I mean, the research shows that most people around the world feel they have at least one book in them. And
Yeah.
here's the beautiful thing that Substack gives us. It really has democratized the ability to share our ideas in real time, to find other people who resonate with our quirky, weird, whatever our stuff is.
Yeah.
Substack helps us find other people who are like-minded and allows us, even if we only have one person read and if no one reads it, it's there. We no longer have to go and beg a publisher. We don't have to get an agent. We don't have to share a cut of our resources to get our information out. I mean, Substack takes a cut if we charge for for paid subscriptions.
Yeah.
But even that's amazing because they're
Yeah.
providing this beautiful platform where we get to host everything for free.
Absolutely. And it's really revolutionary because so many writers of different levels, small, large, can really make some good money here on Substack. I mean, if you look at some of the really popular writers, I'm thinking of like someone like Elizabeth Gilbert. She has hundreds of thousands of followers and she writes these lovely love notes to you. I mean, what a special feeling from like one of your authors who you admire and love to kind of get to be on one of their inner circles, and then to know that you're supporting them in their craft to continue what they're doing. You turned me on to Substack, and I want to thank you for that. And I was very intimidated because you were like, you should do a Substack. You love to write as well. Like, practice it. And it really felt scary to go and publish my first article. I was like, who am I? Who am I to write a Substack? And then I remember too, when I turned on the paid subscribers, there was a whole other level of like, who do I think I am? And it's like, I think I'm doing what I'm doing at the end of the day. And yes, something about midlife. I think we really genuinely have some serious stories and some serious wisdom and point of views to share. So, all of the kind of hangups and barrier to entry that you girlfriends listening might be experiencing, let that ish go, right? It is time to absolutely do what you want, and you can flirt. I see a lot of people on Substack who are like, I've been here for a while and I'm finally sharing articles. I've seen people, do it in all their different ways, but I do think that this is a very inspiring place to feel like a writer.
Absolutely. And we don't have to use our real names. We don't have to use our faces. I mean, there are a lot of people who I know for a fact are using pen names, or alter egos. They're using AI images or just stock photos or just taking photographs of things in their lives and including that in their writings. And some people aren't writing at all. They're putting out
Mhm.
their art. They're putting out songs. They're doing videos. I am a videoaholic. I love
Yeah.
doing videos much more so than I love to sit down and write these days. Also, like for me, writing doesn't look like writing. It's mostly me talking into an app that transcribes my words. Because for
Mhm.
me, I don't like to sit and stare at a blank page. I don't find it inspiring. But you give me something to massage and edit, I will sit there for 6 hours poring over it. So I
Mhm.
think we have to like shake off that idea of what writing is
Yes.
being really, it's about expression. It's about expressing ourselves, and I don't know anybody who needs to express themselves more than somebody, going through perimenopause, menopause, because this stage of life it's a reckoning, and
Yeah.
the people who I see struggling the most this stage of life, the people who I see being most, unsure of themselves, the most kind of beaten down, feeling steamrolled by this stage of life are the people who are the least self-expressed.
Right. Exactly. It's like such a great opportunity to find your voice. And you can do that. I love what you brought up about you can do voice memos to yourself, but start to have a conversation with yourself. That's really what writing is. You are thinking about these ideas. You're trying to sort through things and make sense of life. And then you share it with a community or not. Because if you want to just journal, my journaling is very personal to me. Or a lot of people I know who love morning pages from The Artist's Way, right? That Julia Cameron, I believe, got me off and running in my 20s. I remember right out of college, I just took off with the morning pages. Those were for me, stream of consciousness. But it taps you into what you're thinking about, what you continue to bring up. And it gives you this awareness that, frankly, can make a lot of us feel a little scared because we're kind of facing ourselves. We're not distracting ourselves. And boy, there's a lot to distract ourselves with these days. But what would it mean to really write down what you're feeling, what you're pondering, what you're considering in life? I think it's such a powerful exercise. And like Shay said, you can write it, you can speak it into your voice memo, you can sing it, you can do it in
Mm.
so many different ways. I also was a theater major. I loved reading plays. I loved the playwright format because it was dialogue, which to me felt so much more alive. I was that kid in English class who was always like, I'll read out loud, when they wanted you to read a book out loud because the the reading aloud brought the words to life for me. And I loved reciting words. So again, giving ourselves all this permission to like go about writing however we see fit.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful, and I really want to encourage women to do it. And it will bring up things. It will bring up grief. It will bring up frustrations. It will bring up shit in your life that you need to go and change, because you can't run away from that part of yourself. But by not writing it down, by not expressing it, by not speaking it into your phone or however you want to express yourself, you are shorting yourself. You're shortchanging yourself from this opportunity to heal.
Yeah.
And of course, for me, I have a very, very rich writing practice for as part of my spiritual practice, and I call it sacred journaling.
Yeah.
And I write stuff and I get answers, and I don't know exactly where the answers are coming from, but it's really powerful. And so I want to encourage people to even try that. It could be a way, it could also blow open the doors of your psychic abilities, like it's
Mm.
done for me. It's a very powerful strategy for getting to know yourself. And for my girlfriends who are like, feel like they can't afford a therapist, it's a way to therapize yourself,
Yeah.
to write it down and then sit with it. And then ask yourself, how do I feel even seeing this here? And there
Yeah.
are also workbooks you can get about it. Like, there are just so many ways. And
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about another woman stuck inside of herself,
Yeah.
locked in a prison of her own making because she's not willing to look at her stuff, look at herself, and create this opportunity
Yeah.
to bloom. I think let's bloom at this stage of life. If not now, then when, ladies?
Well, I even feel shy doing this, but I wrote a workbook around women loving their voice. As you know, I'm a voice coach and I love to help women kind of unlock their voice and speak their truth at work and at home. And I realized after teaching women, the nuts and bolts and the speech things, so much of this was emotional. And so I wrote Love Your Voice. And you can see here that this was my sample copy. This was really a big deal for me to announce that I wrote a workbook that, I'm actually giving women an opportunity to kind of explore what they want to say. What is their relationship with their voice? What is their relationship with their self expression? And I was very much inspired by books like The Artist's Way. And I went ahead and self published this in Amazon, which was a really wonderful experience to do. And I know that here on Substack saying self-published might be a little controversial to certain folks, but I think if you're really writing your own material and you don't want to go through all of the hurdles of finding someone to publish your work, it's very, very empowering. And I also wanted to get this to my clients right away. So this was such a fun way to make it very accessible, very affordable, and honestly doable for me. And you were my cheerleader along the way. But this felt like a really big step. And previously, I wrote another guide for performers, and just stepping into that and going, "Holy smokes! I wrote some workbooks." Like it, it, you can step outside yourself and try to size yourself up, and it's like, don't waste your time. At this time of our lives, like last week's episode, we do not care. We just don't care. We don't have time. I just I want to talk about all the things that can heal us, that can, like you're saying, empower us to
Yeah.
find voice. So yeah, all the things. Let's do it.
I have to say, it makes me a little cranky when people get judgy about self publishing because the truth is, most people die with their music still inside of them. People sitting in the cheap seats who aren't publishing, who aren't putting their words out there, who aren't sharing their music, aren't sharing their songs, their poetry, their art. I don't want to hear shit from them. I had someone be very judgmental. I self published a book years ago with a co author, and someone read that book, and I heard her criticizing the book to someone else. And
Hmm.
I was like, I don't want to hear it because you haven't done shit. You haven't put anything out. You are
Right.
sitting on it. She's filled with wisdom and ideas and greatness that she will probably never, ever, ever put out into the world. And I don't want to hear from anybody not getting their hands dirty, dealing with looking at reviews, seeing what comments people are leaving on their work, because we're the ones being brave. We're the ones who are exposing ourselves, showing the vulnerable underside. And
Yeah.
we're the ones who are not going to die with our music still inside of us. I'm going to die living with sharing it and making mistakes and making a mess and having typos in my published work. And so I don't have any time for people who are judgmental about, oh, Random House didn't put your book out. And I'm like, how many books do you have out from Random House?
That's right.
Zip it.
That's that's right. And there is a big wave now, and we should talk about it with AI and with, AI scraping authors' books and scraping
Yeah.
their voices. So I understand why there's a lot of controversy right now around define writing, with ChatGPT and with Claude and all of these writing apps, I think a lot of us find them helpful to kind of get us going. And then a lot of people are very fearful of them. And I mean, that's a great talk to talk about. I think when I was sharing, oh, I wrote this thing, the first insecurities came up, what were like, like some of my idols, like a Toni Morrison or a Joan Didion. I mean, they're these just, academic, incredible writers, but it's like you can have these different categories and there's not one way to come into this and to go about this. And so again, the word that for myself just kept coming up again and again and again was permission, permission, permission. Give yourself permission.
Permission.
And the thing about AI that I find tricky. Okay. So my relationship with AI is that it is an incredible idea starter for me. I find that like getting prompts and getting a structure can really help me from avoiding the blank page. When I turn it off, though, is when I want to start going through my drafts and really writing. I need it to be my voice, right? Because it doesn't feel authentic if it's coming from another voice. And even like another AI thing like Grammarly that can correct what you're writing. A lot of times its choices are it's like, no, that's not my voice. That's not how I operate. So if there is a little bit of still kind of uncertainty or insecurity that we can all feel vulnerable about, I would just say use those cautiously because we want your voice at the end of the day. Um, you can use those as like a tool, but they can't write better than you. So I do see that sometimes AI is I think worrying some people's confidence. Like, oh, should I have said it this way? Should I have said it this way? I would just treat it like, one kind of uh, feedback, as if one person read your work and gave you a little feedback about it, and you take what you like and you dismiss what you don't like.
As you're speaking, I'm flashing on and this is just coming up for me right now. I think a lot of people get insecure about AI, rewriting or editing their work because most of us are not that confident in our grammar skills to begin with. I know I'm
Hear it.
a student of public education. And when I got to college, I was like, ooh, I don't think that I was taught all that well. I'm seeing it now with my kids. Oh, whoa. Teachers don't even care about spelling anymore. And I've been in 2 different school systems in different states, and they're both like, "Yeah, we're not really focused on that. Spelling's not that important to us anymore." And I'm like, "Come again? I don't understand this." So I think too, the way we're all educating, so my husband and I have we have different value system for our
Mhm.
children and what they need to be learning. But I think a lot of people don't feel secure when AI rewrites their work because they're like, "I don't know that I know better," or "I don't know that I know how to use the different versions of there and when to do it." So I
Mhm.
do think, I think it's also highlighting a lack of education, a lack of self-confidence.
Mhm.
But I think it's also a really powerful tool that we need to learn to use, but
Yeah.
from our own values. So we need to
Yes.
get really clear. What do I want to use it for? How can it benefit me? Because it's here.
Yep.
It's out of the bag. There's no putting it back.
Yep.
It's only going to get worse. So we
Yeah.
need to figure out how do we get out in front of it
Yeah.
and welcome it, and then how do we want to be engaging with it? And I feel like this is a bigger issue. You and I should do a whole episode on AI because I have a lot of thoughts about AI.
Oh, as I'm sure everyone listening does too. I mean, it's a big deal. And boy, here on Substack in the notes section, there has been a lot of critiques of AI because, like, I mean, it is a little scary. Like, there's Substacks that are completely written by AI. There's a big controversy. I've heard people saying that you should, share if your things are written by AI, or someone was even going as far as to say, share how much of your stuff is written by AI. And, it's complicated. Um, I don't think AI is ever going to replicate your personal lived experience and your words. And, you know, writing it can be really hard. It can get tricky, but I also have never agreed with the idea of like, the struggling artists that you should suffer for your art and that you should, never get over the hump. So I feel like if AI is going to give you a few ideas to get the ball rolling for you, absolutely utilize it. I've talked with a few teachers too, like, how are you navigating AI, right? And some are kind of like trying to say absolutely none. And then I think others, and I agree with these, are teachers are saying, yeah, we're incorporating it. We're figuring out how we can use it for templates, for outlines, but still having, the students write and use their voice for it. So yes, I think you're right. I think this is a whole other topic. As we can see, we just like opened up Pandora's box.
Yeah.
But it is kind of the current conversation we're having, isn't it?
It's all part of it. It's all part of it. I mean, the last thing I'll say about AI is I actually think that it will replicate our voices soon. I think that it will. I think we're very close to being at a place where people will not know that AI has written something. Um, and so I think that's a whole thing to navigate. And I can see why people would be concerned with their livelihood.
Totally.
And I think we are woefully unprepared for how many careers and jobs are actively being obliterated by AI, how many large companies are no longer hiring people, and hiring managers are being told, you have to actually prove to us AI can't do what you're trying to hire for. So we're here. It's already happening. And so we need to be thinking outside the box. We need to be thinking about a future that has never existed before. And I think
Mhm.
that is what's scary for so many people and why we're seeing this like white knuckling around
Yeah.
this topic of AI. Um, and I'm trying to be really soft about it and just I'm trying to navigate. I'm going to create something that's never existed. That's really where I'm at about it. And I see you doing something very similar.
Yeah.
With your life's work.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm just really grateful also to Substack that there is a place where I can show up in
Mhm.
any scraggly kind of way and I can express myself and I
Yeah.
can be out and about and I can be engaged with people reading my work and sharing comments and likes and God forbid signing up and being a paid subscribers, which is every time it happens blows my socks off
I know.
that people believe in me, that I am now being not fully supported as a writer, but I am supported as a
Mhm.
writer here on Substack. I
That's
make
right,
money from my writing on Substack, which makes me a paid author.
which makes you a writer. And it it it's also easy to go, well, I don't have the hundreds of thousands of people. Who cares?
Yeah,
Someone had a really beautiful point, which was imagine this group who's subscribed to you in a room. If you even have 15 or 20 people, that's a full room of
that's a full
people
room.
reading and listening to you. And also, I love all the formats. Like video clearly is a wonderful way to do podcasts and to talk out loud and to share stories. And then I love that you can do the written text. You can just do audio. So there's a lot of flexibility here. I think Substack is just basically saying, go for it, go forth and create. So I just think for you women who are kind of like tiptoeing around and wondering if you should take the plunge, I say go for it. Because as I shared before, I felt pretty, shy about going for it. And wow, was it validating to actually have some people read my articles, appreciate them, build a community that's continuing to build. And then it's very like reaffirming. You can meet other like-minded people. There's just so many incredible opportunities, but you got to like have the go green light for yourself. So I would say,
And do it in the dark of night if you have to. Don't
yeah,
use
and
your
like
real
you
name.
said,
Don't tell a
right,
soul.
right,
Just get out there and do it. Express yourself and then see how you feel instead of all the worries and the fears. Because I think we're at a time where we absolutely have to express ourselves. We
yeah,
need to bring our authenticity.
yeah.
Our real, true voices are needed now more than ever. This
Our
is not the time to be
humanity.
hiding and staying safe, playing safe.
Right. We are so starved as everything is getting more, tech tech robot-y. We crave that humanity, and I would rather read something that has a few typos in it if I kind of understand that this is coming from a particular voice.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just go for it, ladies. And by this age, it's like when, if not now, then when, right? This is really the time to go for it, and you may delight yourself, and it can go many, many different, ways that you can't even imagine.
I love that. The idea that we could still surprise ourselves at this stage of life.
Oh
I'm
my
52
gosh.
and still surprising myself. And that is my hope and prayer for every woman, that she can keep discovering parts of herself and her self expression and abilities that she didn't even know she had.
And we're feeling our role in society shifting at this age, right? It's like we're no longer in the sort of traditional, way of feeling like a woman. And there is a great amount of relief in that, that we aren't necessarily having like the male gaze on us or the same societal pressures as like a young woman to look good all the time and be good all the time. Oh my gosh. So that means that we can, say some things, speak our mind and get maybe even a little controversial. It's I think going to help us lead ourselves on this new path. I heard this woman talk recently about how middle age really is kind of a fork in the road where we can either go on the road of discovery or go on the safe road of what we knew to be ourselves and to keep kind of holding on and to try to like move the clock back. But how exciting through writing and here on Substack, if we could like continue on and kind of be creating and defining ourselves and just doing it in real time,
Doing
doing
it
it
in real time
as you and I are doing right now.
and going live. I mean, it's changed so much for us. This format, this ability to do this, and that you and I get to meet up every Tuesday at noon our time
Right.
and see and be seen,
Yeah.
and to show up and be messy and say the wrong thing, make mistakes, have our hair look any old kind of way.
I love your hair.
I'm questioning this lip color today. I don't know what's going on with that, but like here it is, right? Like here in real time, and it's going to be messy. We just have to keep moving forward because that's the only way we're ever going to get anywhere. And so, girlfriends, I'm so delighted to be on this journey with you. Jessica, getting to be here with you every week is just highlight of my life. Thank you so much for your friendship and
Mhm.
partnership in this project because we are just loving up so many girlfriends of a certain age who are here to do it and live out loud. And so I'm so happy.
Oh my gosh, right back at you. This is what it's all about. We need our girlfriends at this age more than ever. It is so much about community. I just feel that in my bones more and more. And so I'm delighted to talk with you weekly. It's such a treat. And for everyone listening, this Girlfriends of a Certain Age is a community so that we can talk about these things, so that we can kind of explore the messy, the beautiful, and everything in between. So I'm so thrilled to be doing this with you.
What a gift. Well, till next time, girlfriends. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.